How are we doing today, everybody? I am back with a team talk today brought to you by Christopher. Christopher, if you're listening, we appreciate it. Thank you. You commented and you had this question for me. Are you ready? So we're just going off of somebody's question. Team talk, here we go. You ready? We're going to do it right now. Bing. Question. Andy. Yeah, that's me. How's it going? How about doing a video about the request you would ask from a dealer/private seller when buying a bass boat? Great question. What are some things that would scare you away from purchasing a used bass boat? What motor details would you want to see? Bingo. Those are great questions to ask. A lot of likes, everything else on that. So I'm going to get rid of this phone right now because that was my literature. Boom, it's in here. All right, so we're going to start dealer, okay? I'm going to be Christopher. I'm going to the dealership. Hypothetically, and sitting in front of us is a 2015 Ranger with a Merc on it, 2015 everything, and we're going in to buy it, all right? So first things first, you go in, you get your salesman, you know the guy's coming to try to sell the boat, okay? Great. If he's a good salesman, he should have some records of some work that's been done. If he doesn't have any records from, let's say, previous owner, they should be able to plug in, get some diagnostic readings for you. They should be able to get you your hours. They should be able to get you codes, service codes. They should be able to tell you, okay, we changed the gear case, no water, gear oil was clean. We went in, it's had a compressor, we can see that. You know, it's got new spark plugs. And then when you're going to look at the boat, there's things you always want to look at. One of my biggest pet peeves is you can always tell if somebody took care of their boat, because you know when it gets to the dealership, it's going to get detailed. Mostly, I'm sure, like a 2015, if it's on the showroom floor, they're going to detail it. So it's just like when you go to buy a car, okay? When I go to buy a car, I take it for a test drive. If it's used, I go and I peel back the carpet or I lift some edge stuff to see if it was in a flood or see if something, you know, if it's got a lot of sand stuff. Up here, we shouldn't have a lot of terrible sand everywhere. The only sand we get is road sand during this time of the year. But you look at some of those things internally. So when you're getting in that boat, you want to look at our carpet of the edges. How was this thing taken care of? It's immaculate and clean. Great, you did that. Look for stress cracks. Stress cracks by the transom. All this stuff, if a dealer is legit, they should bring that stuff up to you. You know, they should say, hey, you know, it's got this stress crack right here. We don't see it as a structural issue. Maybe just fiberglass break, you know, cracking, something like that. Maybe some sun fade, something like that. Next thing is when it comes to boat, you want to make sure that rigging tubes are clean, fuel lines have been checked, that type of thing when you're talking with the dealer. Just go through the basics. And then when you get to the wheels, tires, check the tires. You know, ask him, when do you think these tires are changing? If he doesn't know, get down there and take a look at them, because you're physically buying it from a professional at that point. They should have the whole list of motor diagnostics when it comes to hours, like I said, the gear case, Jackson's pounding on something while I'm trying to do a video. All that stuff when it comes down to it, they should have that motor breakdown for you. Transom, always check the transom, always check the bolts. Lean inside, check if the internal bolts underneath where you can't see are sucked in, like the recess, they're starting to pull in. You don't want to go down that road. You shouldn't have any of them problems with the newer boats. But some of that older stuff you're going to look at for that 7,000 to 8,000 range, you definitely want to get involved in that. You want to dig in, but we're talking about like a 2015. Water pressure gauges, all the gauges, do they function? And most of all, can I take it for a test? I want to go drive it. And if they're a little pullback on that, they shouldn't be. It's a dealership. They should, yeah, let's go float it, let's go for a ride. Do all that type of thing. So the things I would be leery of, me, personally, if I'm buying it from a dealer, I think there's less to be worried about, obviously. They should have done the complete checkovers. I'm not a fan of a 2015 boat, me going to buy it, and it's got 30 hours on it. I'm not a fan of that. Why am I not a fan? It didn't get used enough. You could have some major issues down the road. Granted, you buy it from a dealership, they should stand behind it, so you got a little less worry on that point. We'll get into more of that when we get to the private side. But like I said, dealer, let's just do a quick rundown. The list isn't long because you should have some truthful, stand-up honesty coming at you from a dealer if he's the correct kind of salesman. He should just be upfront with you, because if I'm selling you that Four Winds over there or that Ranger that's sitting behind me, I'm gonna go through that thing and I'm gonna tell you exactly what's wrong with it, because A, I don't want you coming back being pissed off that you bought something, and B, I want you to be a satisfied customer, because then you're gonna return for service. Simple. That's the way they should be. But we all know that not everybody's the same. So if I get there, I'm looking at this 2015 Ranger, got a Merc on it. I'm going to ask, first of all, I'm going to ask for diagnostics, engine diagnostics. That should give you your hours, should give you any codes, it should give you anything that was going on. They should be able to pull all that and give you a printout of that. If they can't, start to question things. Start to talk about the boat, physically talk about the boat, slide underneath it, check the hull. If you see some scratches or cracks or dents or dings or any of that kind of crap, question it. Go right ahead, say, what's going on here? What do you think went on here? See what kind of answer they have. Go to the trailer, check the tires, check all that stuff. Ask them, do you know, is there any service been done on these brakes? Or when was the last time we had wheel bearings done? They don't have those answers, maybe some questions should come up. And thirdly, you want to go and you want to take a look at, like, on the carpet edges, just lift your fingernails and just check them edges and see what goes on there. See how it tells a lot of the person that had it before you. Obviously, the condition of the boat too. If the dealership's got it sitting outside, or if it's in a snow pile, or they don't give a damn about it, well, you're going to have that. But obviously, not every dealership has the room to put 300 boats or 30 boats or 20 boats inside. So you're going to get some of that outside stuff. But I would say if you got 2015, you think they would at least have a cover on it to where they can brush it off. Another thing, does it have a cover? Has it been covered? That's another thing you want to look at when you're looking at the boat. So that's my dealer side of things, that list there. Now when we get to private, things get a little bit more hairy, okay? So when we're going to private, he's probably not gonna have, here's what the biggest phone call I get from past customers or customers that sell boats, they don't have any service records. I think boaters are like, they just don't keep service records. And we get calls from people that buy somebody's boat and they're like, yeah, just call Team Marine. I took it there for 10 years and I'll have all the service records. It's not my responsibility to keep your service records, okay? I don't pay Katrina to go find your service records. That's not what I should be doing. But if they don't have any service records, then you really got to get in depth. You really got to start asking, well, anything go wrong with it? If they, no, nothing went wrong with it. Well, then let's take it to the lake, let's take it to the river, let's go for a boat ride. If they're definitely hesitant on that, just walk away. You know, it's just one of those things where you don't want to take me out on your boat. You can drive, I don't need to drive, let's just go for a boat ride. Well, let's go for a boat ride. And when you're in the boat, you want to see it idle. You want to make sure it shifts forward to reverse. You want to make sure the thing gets on plane like you want to when we're talking bass boats. And you want to make sure that that thing goes cruising speed, mid-range, and wide open. If you don't want to go wide open, you don't want to go mid-range, something's wrong. Walk away. All right? They should want to show that performance to that boat. You get in a boat that I'm going to sell, I'm going to do all those things. I'm going to make sure that thing rips. I'm going to make sure it idles. I'm going to make sure it does everything you want it to. Running lights. Make sure the running lights work. Make sure, and that's boat, I'm saying, when you're out there. Have him go through the electronics with you. Make sure they power on. Just turn everything on. Have him turn the bilge pumps on, live well pumps. Play stupid. Say, hey, can you show me how that stuff works? I want to see that stuff work. If it doesn't work, I'm just saying you got more repairs, all right? It's all negotiating when it comes to that. But that's one of my biggest things when it comes to when you're going to do a private. You should want to go see it on the lake. You want to be in it. You want to drive it. You want them to drive it. You want the questions. Start at the front. Trolling motor work, or can I see how that thing works? Just play dumb. All the switches work up front? Yeah, okay. Let's get back here. All the pumps work? Yep, pumps are working, everything's on. You should be able to open up the live wells, make sure the valves work, all that stuff. Granted, you're not buying a new boat, but when we're talking this, that, and the other, it can add up quick. It can add up to thousands of dollars of repairs. And especially if you get there, like I said, it's a 2015, it's got 30, 40 hours on it, even less. Yeah, I'm really gonna flare because it's like, okay, what am I gonna run into fuel system wise? How do you know that was treated? You get there, it's a 2015, it's got 30 hours, he's got no service records, probably hasn't had any problems, but he hasn't used it. Who knows how long? How long has it been sitting? Oh, it's sitting for 4 years, should be good. Probably gonna have some problems. So that's something you might want to flare away from. Boat-wise, same thing. You get there, the boat's uncovered underneath a f***ing walnut tree or something, and there's shit all over it. Who knows what could be wrong? Mice living in it. You get there, it's taken care of, it's sitting there, it's all vacuumed up, it's got a nice shine to it. Definitely open up the back. You always want to check the transom. Check the transom. One of the biggest things that happens up here in the north, and I don't know if it's that way down south as bad, is we just have transom rot. And it's even some of the newer boats, we got transom bolts that have been loose, and now and it's not as bad because of the composites for sure, but they're taking on water. And it's just, people don't check that kind of stuff. They don't go back there and check them transom bolts. You know, just check them. Just make sure stuff's tight and it's the way it is. Pop the cowling. Take the cowling off. When you get the cowling off, we dealer and private, get the cowling off, you should be able to see if there's an exhaust leak, if it's a 2-stroke. 4-stroke's going to hide it obviously a little bit more. You should be able to see water leaks, hard water stains, hard water stainage. You should be able to look at spark plug wires. You should be able to look at making sure that stuff doesn't have any cracks, rips, tears. Coils aren't burnt. If it has a regulator rectifier, there hasn't been any fires or anything like that. No burnage on the wires. Wires are in good shape. All that stuff. You're looking at Optimax. Let's say check belt tension, all that. Just take a quick look at it, and they shouldn't have a problem with it. But get the cowling off of it and just inspect it visually and just check some stuff. I'm not saying that it's a bartering type of thing where you can kind of barter with them on price when it comes to that, but at least going in, hey, I may have a water leak here. And then private wise, I think lastly but not least, after you take it for a run and whatever, tell them you want it to go to a dealership. You'll pay for it. I'll pay for the diagnostics. I'll pay for it to get a compression check, a leak down test, make sure the gear case, change the gear oil, pressure test the lower unit, make sure it's got good gear oil in it. Tell me where the condition of the plugs are. Is the prop right? Is the prop in good shape? Does it have the right hardware on? Is it tight? Everything like that. Check the prop shaft. Just make sure everything's good. It's going to cost you, even if it costs you $300, it doesn't matter. At least you have started your own beginning of paperwork. Paperwork. I think in today's society, there's more of it. Back in the 90s and stuff like that, and early 2000s, people just bought stuff. They didn't care. You ain't got no paperwork? All right, I'll buy it. Whatever. They didn't care. Today, no. Everybody wants to see paperwork. They want to see some stuff. They want to see some records. So you would start your own records for when you go to sell it. Boom. Just make a file. Little file. Slide the stuff in. Even if you're going to trade the boat. I'm going to go trade a boat. Guys, the dealer's looking at it and sliding all the stuff over, and then you take this folder and you hand it to him and be like, hey, here's all the service records. You can sell that with the boat. If I'm a dealer, I'm like smiling. Okay, great, here it is. I lay it right on the line, open it up on the deck. Here's everything that was done to this thing. How good is that? So I think that's a big thing. When it comes to private, you want to do a water test. You want to take that cowling off. You want to make sure there's no leaks, nothing crazy going on under there. You want to inspect the hull. You want to inspect the boat, the trailer. Same thing with the seller side or the dealer side. And then most of all, you want to, on the private side, you want to get that boat to get checked out. Make sure it's checked front to back, top to bottom, motor, everything, pumps, all that stuff. You don't even really got to fix it. At least you come back with a list of stuff that's maybe not working. So when you're talking to the private guy, you can be like, hey, I got this. Maybe there's some leeway in price. If there's not, that's up to you then at that point. But at least you have record. You know what's going on. It costs you a couple $100, $300. You have records. So then that's yours. It's not his. He wants it from you, and you don't want the boat. Tell him, I'll sell it to you for $100. Whatever. Sell him the paperwork. That's cool. And then when it comes to seller, the other side of it, you want them to be professional, and they should be professional. They should have everything we've talked about here should all be waiting for you. It should be a simple process. It should be easy. It should be paperwork. It should be a water test. You should be able to look at what you want to. You should be able to climb in the boat, sit there, check batteries, check voltage. All that stuff should be taken care of for you. And you should know that when you hand them the money, you have a quality rig that you should get you on the water. And there should be a little bit of warranty. I don't know how much warranty some of these guys do with used stuff, but there should be I don't know. I think there's probably some 30-day warranty stuff on some of that stuff, but that's between the dealer and you. But I think this is a great question. I really like it. I've gotten to the point now when we talked about this question when it came to the bass boat, Jordan brought up the fact of maybe we do one just boat in general, outboard boat and IO boat. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to get some more info. We'll pick a couple boats so then some of you IO people can kind of have, because it's different when it goes to IO, some of the stuff you want to look at versus the other side. So I think we'll do that maybe coming up. We're going to do another one of these, a comparison of our outboard IO, and we'll get you a private dealer, both sides stuff. But I think this is a great question. He nailed it. Give you some stuff to put in your back pocket when you're going to purchase a boat. Like I said, make sure the structure of the boat's good. Make sure it was well taken care of to a certain degree. I mean, there's always going to be some stuff. Motor-wise, make sure you get that paperwork. Make sure you get them tests done. Make sure it gets to a dealer if it's not at a dealer. And then, last probably but not least, make sure you get a test on it. Make sure you get physically in the boat and get out in it. And like I said, there's no reason why it shouldn't start. Make them shift it. Make it idle. Make it go mid-range. Make it go wide open. Make them shut it off and make them show you everything works in the boat. Then you know you're buying quality equipment. Hope you enjoyed the video. It was a team talk. I enjoyed it, like always. Comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell to witness the madness that I call speed, money, no brakes. And I think Christopher, that's who it was? He's definitely saying speed, money, no brakes. I'm out. See ya.